Good evening, good evening. We have been trying to get online all evening, but we have been having some technical difficulties. I don't know if you're hearing any of it. What I can tell you is that I've been trying to interview this person since last week, Wednesday. And why is it so important for me to interview Dr. Andrea Barrett, a past student of Chetwood Memorial Primary and Mount Alvernia High School, my alma mater? Dr. Barrett is now an associate professor at the University of Technology. Good evening, Dr. Barrett. Should I just call you Andrea?
Oh, sure, Janet.
All
We
right.
go
Why
way
don't I
back.
just go?
So,
Thank you for
yes,
joining me. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for joining me while we are celebrating 100 years of Mount Alvernia Prep, Chetwood Memorial Primary, and Mount Alvernia High School. It has been a long walk. Should I say a long walk to freedom? No, a long walk to celebrating this. And
Yes,
I'm very,
indeed.
very excited about the fact that we have done so much during this year of celebration. And we are coming up to a gala event, which is on the 26th. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Barrett. I'm going to keep you, Dr. Barrett. Sometimes I'm going to go into Andrea. Having
That's
known you
all
for
right.
so many years, I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. Tell me, what are some of your fond memories of your time at Mount Alvernia and Chetwood Memorial?
Well, let me start with Chetwood because that's where it all started with my
Yes.
interface with the Franciscan sisters. Um, and my mother, literally, I remember when I went to Chetwood, she told Sister Mocky, and I think was the principal, and Sister Celia, to say the least, that they should keep me in check. And I'm not too sure why she said that, because I wasn't a rude child. I was well behaved, in my opinion, of course. And so, you know, the maybe the fear of my mother's eyes, and then I had some aunts and uncles, behind me. I'm one of the part of the Cook family, which back then was a
You mean
household.
like Kathy Cook, your relative?
Yes, yeah,
Howard Cook?
yeah. Howard is my granduncle. My grand my grandmother and Howard were sisters, and Kathy is my cousin. Yeah,
So
yes,
hold on
yes,
there now. But you're from Samaton. Howard Cook
yes.
had family from Samaton. Kathy
Well,
has family from Samaton.
that's right. Oh yes, my grandmother. Remember, Sir Howard is really from Goodwill, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the adjoining district in the that whole area.
Right.
And as the story I'm told from through the family chat or family, our great grandfather, who was Uncle Howard's father, he was the overseer amongst well, he was an overseer at Hamden Estate. And so from
Careful,
Hamden,
We don't want anybody thinking that they were keeping slaves. When you hear the word overseer, and you hear plantation and sugar plantation, you start
well,
thinking of slavery. But I
well,
know what you're talking about. That's not what
yeah,
we're talking about, guys.
no,
We're
no,
talking about a man in charge of Hamden Estate at the time.
estate, the
A
sugar estate.
Jamaican man, a black man.
Well, no, not
Aaron was
really.
brownish.
It was brownish, as they would call it,
Him still
Jamaican
black.
white. And he wasn't really Jamaican. I think he came from the UK.
Right.
He came from the U. That's Uncle Howard's father, not Uncle Howard himself. Uncle
Mm-hmm.
Howard is born, grown, and bred Jamaican.
In Jamaica.
Yeah, in
No wonder
Jamaica.
that is a fair skin for true. Come to think of it.
Well, back in the day, you had the the division, so to speak. You had the, as they would call them, browning, and then
Yes.
you have the black. And we kind of still have some of that. It's kind of a little covert in the society. But anyway, that's not what we're here to
No,
discuss.
no, that's definitely not what we're here for. We're here to find out about your fond memories
Yes,
at school, and
right.
how these schools shaped your values, your confidence, and your
Well,
academic foundation.
I
What
don't know if you
did make
recall.
you who you are today?
Yeah, I don't know if you recall Miss Mac, who taught mathematics.
I remember her very, very well.
We used to call her Mackie Shuffle.
Yes.
Listen to me. And walking properly along those corridors, right? And often when I'm walking on the street or even walking, even on UTECH campus, it's as if I'm hearing her voice.
Mhm.
Andrea, walk on the right side, please. Right side, and hold your
Single
head and your
file on the right
shoulder
hand
back and
side.
everything. So you walk with that air of confidence, right? And the those undertones in terms, it was not so much the academic stuff that really helped to shape me as I navigated the world, because through my professional development, I've traveled extensively: South Korea, India, UK, etc., etc.
Mhm.
Um, those values in terms of how you appear or how you present yourself, how you appear in a space, in terms of your walk and your dress, and how you speak, and how you show up.
Mhm.
And that was also very, very much a part of not only school, but part of the home bringing. As I mentioned, I'm one of the household name cooks, right? And so Uncle Howard and his brother, who Lloyd G. Cook, who I spent a lot of time around, they were teachers in the educational sector. And so um, excellence in education is what we were taught at home, and not
Mhm.
only from an academic side, but how you actually show up. So, Mount Alvernia and Chetwood, I would say, you know, basically helped and really endorsed and cemented some of those home values that we were taught. Um, as I was growing up um,
Mhm.
in this society, in the Jamaican society, and those values has stayed with me as I navigated the both the domestic and international circuit.
Can I tell you something? I was in Japan a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and the way they behaved orderly
Hmm.
reminded me a lot about Mount Alvernia High School.
Oh, for
That
sure.
single file on the right hand side. I mean, when you walk in the train station, make sure you're on one side, going down while the other people are coming up. In
Right.
fact, in fact, I think that Japan has changed me for the better. Yeah,
Good.
I have learned or relearned how to operate. I join in lines more than anything else now.
Yep.
Yes, I mean, all I tell people is that I'm a giant line. I hope they don't beat me up. I pray they don't beat me up. Honestly, you have
Yeah.
you have pursued an impressive academic path from computer science and mathematics to innovation and technology management. What inspired your journey, though, through these fields?
Well, um, as I mentioned,
Mhm.
the family is big on education, and we were taught from very early that it's only the top. And so through Uncle Howard, and primarily we call his brother, Uncle Dixie, um, you were always expected to be your very best. And so my cousins and I, we share this zest for education and being the best in education. Now, why I chose computer science, it was primarily an accident. I was in a household where we had a family and we would sit down for dinner. And when dinner was not just eating and getting it over and done with, it was an experience where we discuss current affairs. At the time, in my earlier days, the family was big into politics, so it was discussing what was happening at the time in the environment, in the political arena, but also that we would um, do public service. And so my cousins, there was one cousin who was doing medical school, and family dinner time was a family occasion. I remember one Christmas, I wanted to be a medical doctor. That's how I really started. And he came home to have dinner with us. He was in internship year at the UWI hospital. And we waited for him to come home so we could have dinner. And we sat down around the table and said grace, and then the phone rang. And he was called back this was after he was at the hospital for 3 days.
He was called back.
Mm-hmm. He was called back. So we had to pack up his dinner in a little Pyrex dish at the time, and off he went back to the hospital. And then I sat down and I said, but that's not how I want to live my life. I said, no, that can't be.
So I'm assuming then that you went into academia, which I understand you have been in for 20 years. So what keeps you passionate about teaching and research then?
Public service. It's public service, giving back. Because, and I tell most of my students, I was one of the fortunate persons who went to university, and I might be dating myself here, who didn't have to pay tuition. In fact, we were literally paid to go to university.
When I'm hearing this, repeat that for me. You were paid to go to university.
Well, because we used to get $760 from the government. They used to call it a boarding grant. And I remember when I came to Kingston, going down to the Bank of Jamaica and collecting my $760 for the 4 years I was at university. So, so come back to that experience with my cousin who was being trained as a medical doctor, changed my mind instantly. That was like a pivotal point. And so I said, at the time, of course, computer was the in thing, right? So I was a good math student from Malta, Alvernia, not under the influence of Miss Mac or Mackie Shuffle, as they would call her, but Mr. George, an Indian man. I don't know if you all recall Mr. George, who taught mathematics, and I was in the modern mathematics stream, and I
was too young for Mr. George's class.
Well, but he taught from Mount Alvernia for many years. Janet, you probably would not.
I'm teasing. I was one of the worst math students.
I was just about to say that you and Marlene Stevenson Daly will say that mathematics, when maths was being taught, and went in the opposite direction. Right? But anyway, it's not so I did math, and for CXC, I got a distinction.
Wow.
Yes, for mathematics. And so much so I also did AdMath. At the time, AdMath was supposed to be one of those subjects that, was, not done by a lot of persons. So when I went to, and I did add math at CXC and AO or something of that nature. That was Cambridge days, so I don't quite
Right.
remember the system. And so I got a very good grade for add math as well. So naturally, when I went to university, I did. I didn't have to do N2 maths. I did N1 math. I did N2 maths, and I said, since I was doing mathematics and I loved the subject because it was really a no-brainer to sit down and do mathematics and solve equations and so forth. So it was things. So when I went to university, it was natural. And math and computer science
What
were
age you
like
went to university?
what age? I went
Yes.
straight. I went straight from Alvernia to Com College, and then straight from Com College. So I must have gone to university age 18, 19. Yeah. So
Nice.
by I was 22, I was out of university and working. You know,
Fantastic. So would you say then that your work in the science, technology, and innovation policy impacted students and the broader community then?
that's right.
Mm.
Innovation, I brand myself as an innovation specialist right now because that's what I did for my dissertation when I did my doctoral program.
Okay.
Innovation management for development within developing countries. And now I focus mainly on small island developing states, how
Mhm.
innovation can transform these states both socially and economically.
I'm going to get to that. Let me just recognize, or should I say, acknowledge the people who are watching, who have joined us this evening. I see Kathy Wallace saying good night, or Audrey Campbell. Carl Altia Ling says, hi, Dr. Barrett. You know Altia Ling?
Yes, I know. She
Okay.
taught my daughter, Christina, some modeling aspect of
Okay.
summer.
All right. So you know Althea. Then there's Susan Greenaway. Hi, Susan. Good evening. And your cousin, Robin D. Stewart says, hi, cousin Andrea.
Yes.
Velma Ruff. She says she's watching from Boston, Massachusetts, while Robin is in West Haven in Connecticut. And Hector says he's watching from Chicago Heights in Illinois. Chicago has been in the news all day, so I'm really happy to see somebody from Chicago taking the time out to be here with us on social media. I mean, I am curious to find out what you see as the biggest opportunities for Jamaica and the Caribbean in embracing technology and innovation.
Oh, well, um, you know, Jamaica, we've been literally on the map in so many different areas, sports,
Mhm.
music, etc. But there's so much potential in terms of our flora and fauna that can bring forth many innovative products to the marketplace. Health and wellness is a big area of focus now,
Mm-hmm.
globally, not only locally, but globally. So, this whole health and wellness in tourism. I think on Sunday there was a program, Dr. Watson, I think, it was talking about, the innovative hub and through innovation that through tourism, they're bringing these innovative solution or packages to attract tourists globally to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially in some of the nutraceuticals
Right.
that we have here, not that I'm going to promote, you know, any special product, but some of the plants that we're well known for internationally. We have, I'm told by some of my colleagues who are in the whole chemist, more into the chemical aspect of these plants, that we have some of the best strains and some of our the ingredients and that make up some of these plants can be
So
as
why is it taking us so long though? to capitalize on this market. I'm curious because from my idea, me knee,
Yeah.
me hearing about the potential, or should I say the real possibilities that we have as it relates to things that we grow in this country. In fact, I just had a glass of soursop juice, and I
Wow.
don't use any sugar in my soursop. I
Right.
just have it straight.
Right.
And
Right.
I know from my grandmother and my mother, or should I say, I don't know, but I hear from them that that is good for my nerves.
Oh, yeah. And well, not that, but the literature also speak to the benefits of soursop, not only in terms of the fruit, but the leaves, in terms of being a potential cure for cancer
All right,
and
see there.
glaucoma. But but we need a more a purposeful, robust science and technology and innovation STI policy
Right.
incentivize our entrepreneurs to develop the research surrounding the development of products and services, right? Plus, we need a
Mhm.
very strong research policy at the national level. Yes, we may do some research, and we have a lot of bright scientists around. Dr. Henry Lowe,
Being
who
one of them.
is
Yes.
one of them, and we can go on and name others.
Boy, if you
Um,
name others, you don't have to name them.
right,
But I would love to know that there are many other Dr. Henry Lowe's in this country because I know that with his nutraceuticals, he has done an excellent job. That
that's
people
right.
out there are now using his name and telling lies that they're selling the things that he's selling. So you have to be so careful when you get famous as well,
Right,
you
right.
know?
And
But I don't wanna belabor that point. I want us to go further and speak to the fact that you have been trained at prestigious institutions such as Harvard University, George Washington University. Incidentally, I did do some courses there myself. How have those experiences shaped your leadership philosophy?
well, as a black female, it puts me into a position of getting invited to the table that
Mhm.
science and technology um, table as a so I show up at those tables as a female, a well-rounded female, and
Mhm.
everybody talks about. So it's not only I don't only show up as a Jamaican or a person from the Caribbean, because I tell everyone that I'm a Caribbean citizen. I was born in Jamaica, but I'm a Caribbean citizen, and so you show up at these in these arenas as a professional from the region.
Mhm.
And definitely, as I said, just the way you sit and you carry yourself, which is coming from not only home, but also reinforced from the values that the sisters, Franciscan sisters, taught us while at Mount Alvernia.
So
How
Mount Alverna did a great job with you. Probably
I
far better job than it did with me.
oh
I want to
Janet, come
welcome
on. No, Janet,
Kate
I mean, you've
Parkinson.
gone far and what? Is there, I mean, I wouldn't even ask which countries you have been. I would just say, name the countries you have not been. Right? And,
I'm just
and,
counting now, I'm just counting. I'm counting. I think I've gone over 80. So
oh,
I'm halfway there. But
you're at,
please allow me to welcome Faith Farquharson, who is congratulating you. She's proud of you as a Caribbean woman who has done exceptionally well. I see Everton Jackson, one of my favorite persons. He says he's watching from Florida. It's a good program, Janet, to be featuring past students. Yes, Rev, I don't even know if it's going to continue, but I can tell you that I am celebrating and supporting my alma mater. as much as I can during the Centennial. I hope that I will do enough to help my school. It is a pleasure. It certainly is a pleasure. Dr. Barrett, mentorship. Let's talk about mentorship and women in STEM. So, as a woman excelling in technology and leadership, what challenges you face rather, and how did you overcome them? Did you have any at all? I did.
Yes, I did. I did. And I was working at a particular institution in Washington, D.C., and I won't name it. And this is after, as you know, my CV would have, the story that I have 2 masters and a doctorate. At the time when I was at that particular institution, I was pursuing my doctorate and nobody knew. I never told any of my colleagues. But my supervisor at the time indicated to me that my role on the team was to take notes of meetings.
Oh my God.
And I did it. I did it for maybe 3 meetings. And I noticed that that was the only thing I was being asked to do, was to take notes of the meeting. And then I said to myself, but this is secretarial or, let's say, administrative assistant work. And I think I have more skill sets to bring to the team. And so he insisted that I do this note taking and I'm to produce the minutes and circulate it. And then one day I said to him, I'm not going to say I'm not going to do this anymore, but I think I have more skill sets to bring to the team. And I said, well, you also know that I have certain academic credentials. And is there anything else that I can do? And he looked at me as if, what are you talking about? I mean, I won't say let's say my interpretation of who he think I was that was sitting in front of him. So here I was advocating that I have greater skill sets than just taking notes and circulating minutes. So that was a pushback to me and a very insultive way of trying to put me in a place. But then I quickly reminded myself of where I was. This was in the great United States of America. And so there is almost a stereotype of if you're a certain hue and sometimes, I'd say, a female, then you are regulated to do certain tasks and no more. So, and of course, that's not how I was brought up, right? You're brought up to show up and to show up well.
And to be assertive.
Yes. Not aggressive. You use the right word, Janet, assertive. Right? And that's why I chose to even go to some of the schools that I went to. Because, yes, I even went to, my first master's was from the London School of Economics in the University of London.
Yes.
That's internationally renowned school across the world.
Yes. Well-respected institution.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, Harvard and, and this man is going to tell me that I must, if I would not have gone to those schools if I wanted to be a secretary
Mm-hmm.
or admin assistant, has the new terminology at the time.
Right.
So, so all I would say to young ladies,
Mm-hmm.
be assertive, do your work, do the work, so nobody can question your what you can contribute to the
So, you,
space.
so you would give young women, especially Mount Alvernia students who aspire to doing STEM or academia, you would advise them to continue.
Of course,
Right.
undoubtedly. I mean, there's so much you can give back to the space.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I was a presenter at a conference in Atlanta in May.
Mm-hmm.
And as I look around, I was the only Black female that had a doctoral degree. Black female. I'm not saying there weren't other that was there as a presenter. And I said to myself, this is a very sad state of affair. We need to have more of our side. And we do have, they're there. We have some bright um, youngsters, not only from Multivernia. I can think of some of our own from my cohort, and I'm sure your cohort as well. There's several scattered across the world in the whole field of science, uh, technology, and innovation across various thematic areas, whether it's education, medicine, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
so they can develop and show up at the space.
Boy, I'm inspired. I must tell you, I'm encouraged. You almost made me want to go do my doctorate. How important is mentorship, you think, for you? And have you mentored anyone along the way?
Oh yes, I'm a big part of mentorship um, at the university that I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was part of a national mentorship program.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Afiwi Jamaica under Professor Rosalie Hamilton. I don't know if you know of
I
her.
know her. I know of her, and I know her.
Yeah, where we went across Jamaica, um, mentoring women, not only in entrepreneurship and how to develop their business. And these were small, as you would say, corner shop
Mm-hmm.
lady in the field who may have some chicken, and how to price the chicken so that she will have something outside of just replenishing the chickens, but she can put a little something aside for her senior years, right?
Yeah.
And
Investing.
investing in oneself, because a lot of times us women, we give so much, not only to our own families but to the community, that we forget about ourselves.
I
And
know that as a fact.
yeah, and we need to start, yes, give, but also give to ourselves, invest in ourselves so that we can look good, um, you know, show up in the space feeling confident about yourself.
So talk to me now, because we're about to wrap up. I want you to look back at what it means for you to have been an alumna of both Chetwood and Mount Alvernia, celebrating its centennial at this time.
Oh, Chetwood and Multivernia shaped me, helped to shape me into the woman I am today. It prepared me for, at the time, didn't realize that I was being prepared for the world. It prepared me for um, to really survive in what can be a very hostile and caustic world.
Mm-hmm.
how not to take some of the comments and the criticisms, let it roll off your back like oil, you know? And I'm not going to say sugarcoat it and say that sometimes it doesn't hurt. And when you get home and you close the door, you may even bawl, cry, and say, what have I done? Because, you try to be authentic. I try to be authentic. And this is coming from watching some of even my sisters from Alvernia, how they conducted themselves, the prefects that were there, the sisters, the teachers, you know. Earlier this year when we had the brunch and we saw some of the teachers that taught us, and how they were just basically so proud and inspired. They used to really rug us the hard way, give us lots of homework, but it was preparing us for the world out there, and certainly prepared me and helped me to appreciate academia and the importance of always learning. So life is about continuous learning. You never stop learning.
Thank you so much. I mean, on that note, we could certainly end this interview this evening, but I want to just remind persons that we're having a number of activities the week of the 18th to the 26th. And one of those important dates would be the Friday, which is the 24th, when we're having our sports day. I was in Auntie Nina's house. What house were you in?
Franciscan.
Okay, so you might win something. The
Maybe
only
you might
house I
win
can
something.
recall winning anything was Cordet.
No,
So
maybe
Auntie Nina's
no,
won all the sports day.
no.
So we're doing our
We're going to
sports
win.
day,
We're going to
and
win.
there are a lot. And we have shirts that we're selling, Franciscan shirts, Auntie Nina shirt, Laurentine, and Cordet, the four houses. And
Yellow is
we
my
came up with
favorite
them.
color, Janet. And
Huh?
that's why yellow is my favorite color. I didn't
Ah,
like the fact that I was in Francisco because it was brown. And brown
I know.
is to me not such a nice color.
Listen,
But
if they had put me in Franciscan, I would have still gone into Auntie Nina's.
well,
I would have
sometimes
behaved as if I were not a part of the Franciscan.
well, sometimes I used to sneak in at the Antonina's house because I used to love yellow.
You know, for those who are watching, and I saw Cargie saying good night, my former supervisor. I'm thinking it must be me. I must have supervised him at Jamaica Tourist Board. Because you never worked at Tourist Board, right?
No, no, no,
And
no.
I was a supervisor. So Evadne Birch is saying, bless up yourself, Janet. Great program. Thank you, Evadne. I appreciate the fact that we have you on board watching us. Andrea Favored Barrett says you are her favorite. You're her namesake, sorry. There's an Andrea Favored Barrett. That's why I see you put you make sure you have your Andrea P. Barrett, not everything you do.
Yes.
Because it's a more common
At
name.
in my year, in my time, there were three Andrea Barrett. Three. That one year I didn't get my books because my mother paid the book and we don't know which of the Andrea Barrett got my books, but I didn't get my
Wait,
book.
this was at university
No, no, no. And
at
Montalvernia.
Alvernia.
Yes.
Oh my God.
But eventually it was sorted out, But
Yes.
you know, and I met only one of the Andrea Barretts.
Mhm.
I don't even know if that is the person that's here. No, but hey, yeah.
It has been my pleasure, though. Let me tell you
Thank you.
something. I have learned so much about you, and I'm really, really, really impressed with your achievements. I want to congratulate you as a woman to another woman and just let you know how proud I am of you.
Thank
Girl
you.
from Somerton, girl from the parish of St. James, woman who attended my alma mater, and Chetwood Memorial Primary, a school that many looked down on years ago. Now them learn to accept that Chetwood is among one of our best. But I can tell you that when I was growing up, if you never went to Barswood Primary, which is where I went, and if you didn't go to Coloneldy, you never gone to school.
Our Mount Alvernia prep. Our
And
Mount Alvernia.
Alvernia Prep.
Yeah.
So what Chetwood has proven is that it's among the creme de la creme. Congratulations again, and thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
And those of you who have been watching, thank you. Thank you so much. Andrea Favored Barrett says she knows of 3 Andrea Barretts in her parish that she's from. While Cargie says, great program. And Robin D. Stewart said, big up Summerton again. Every time, every time.
Robin is my bro. Robin is my bro, man.
In fact, the last time I saw Robin was with you when we were we were in Summerton that time. Robin was there.
No, Robin's mother, I was like the daughter she never birthed. You know, so
See that?
yes,
See
yes,
that?
yes,
See
yes.
that?
Yeah,
It was
she
his mom's funeral we were at, eh?
could have been. I know it was one of the either his father or mother,
I
but I
can't
can't remember.
remember.
But you know, there's so many Somerton. Me almost think that you come from Somerton yourself.
Well, maybe my
Every
ancestor,
function you're
maybe
there.
my ancestor, because me feel most comfortable in Summerton as if up there me born.
Oh, you have
Chetwood
some,
Memorial
you must have
Primary is
some.
the best, says Debbie Kelly Clark. Good night, Susan. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Andrea, take care of yourself.
All right, and
Cool
I see you.
vibes.
I see you. I see you when we're going with the antenna and those people then.
I see you on Sports Day. That's October 24th, while our gala is October 25th. Take care.
All right,
You are good.
thanks. Peace.